Good evening, everybody. Let's allow few more minutes for the students, for more students to access the webinar. In few minutes, we are gonna be resuming the section number 3. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gabriel Jimenez Fuentes. I am the Assistant Director of Student Initiative at the Office of Institutional Diversity. Welcome to the final hour and a half. Welcome to another amazing session. Again, we have the pleasure and the honor to have Dr. Michelle Cook. She's the Vice Provost and the Strategic University, she's the Vice Pro, excuse me, she's the Vice Pro for Diversity and Inclusion and Strategic University Initiative. It's been a really long day, but really good with wonderful presentations, but we are here. Dr. Cook, thank you for being here. Thank you for giving this message to our audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez, and thank you for having me. Good evening, Georgia Daze. Thank you all for joining us for our virtual experience of UGA Ready. First, let me congratulate you on being admitted to the University of Georgia. You may know, but we definitely know that that admission to the University of Georgia is a competitive academic process, and that this year we denied well over half of the students that applied for admissions, making us a selective institution. And it was a very robust and strong applicant pool. Therefore, for you to be admitted to the University of Georgia this year means that you are an incredibly academically competitive student. You have done what you needed to do to be ready for college. And for that, we congratulate you and we thank you for joining us. We're hosting this event because we want you to seriously consider the University of Georgia as you make your collegiate plans. One thing we do know about you is that you have many options. There are a lot of places you can go because you're that strong of students. And we know that academically, you probably were admitted to several places and that you're making that decision and looking around and trying to determine what's going to be the best fit for you. And we realize that a lot goes into making that decision, but we believe that UGA is the full package. Academically, socially, economically, we have incredible opportunities at the university. And when you graduate from UGA, you will have a degree that will enable you to accomplish whatever you wish to do. You will be a part of a very large and active community of alumni who are doing incredible things. Over 15,000 strong African-American living alumni of the University of Georgia. You will be part of the Bulldog Nation. So why UGA? I could give you details and numbers, such as the number of books in the library, the acreage that the campus covers, and it's a large campus. I could talk economics in terms of the political, economic, and cultural impact that UGA has on the state, the region, and the nation and the world, quite honestly. And then, of course, there is athletics. But rather than shower you with data and statistics, I think it's really important for you to hear more than just simply numbers. They're impressive numbers, and we're very proud of them, but numbers are all the same. You are probably interested in how does all this affect you as a student in making a collegiate decision? What will it mean for me to attend this large, complex, sophisticated university? Well, UGA is a large place, but I would say that no student feels as if there's simply a number here. UGA does a lot of things well. And one thing that I think that we do wonderfully is make this very large place, very small and very personal for each of our students. This event is an example of this. We're interested in you as an individual. We're interested in your success. We want to help you to realize whatever goals you have set for yourself. So large doesn't mean lost in the crowd. At UGA, large means opportunity. You know, I want to reiterate the fact that being a student at an institution that has the size, the resources, the diversity, and the reach that the University of Georgia has allows you as a student to have opportunities that you simply would not find at a much smaller institution. We have students who are doing amazing things on campus, across the state, across the nation, and abroad. We have incredible study abroad opportunities, as well as a study in the country at in Washington D.C. with UGA at Washington semester, as well as 2 facilities that we own abroad, one in Cortona, Italy, and one in Oxford, England, as well as hundreds of other study abroad opportunities and engagements across the world. So big means opportunity. UGA also offers amazing diversity, people from every demographic. We have students that represent all 50 states, as well as over 200 countries across the world. In addition, we have many students that represent underrepresented groups, African American, Hispanic, Latinx, as well as Asian American and other identities here in the United States. We're very proud of that generation, of that diversity, because we know that you're the next generation. UGA is committed to that diversity. I know this or I would not be here. We need great minds and creative young thinkers from every demographic. This past year, UGA has been particularly pleased with our ability to attract the best, the brightest, and the most diverse freshman class ever. This program is part of a larger initiative to continue to grow the numbers and percentage of underrepresented students who matriculate at UGA. And we don't want to just increase the presence of students of color at UGA to increase the numbers. We're making incredible efforts to increase the sense of community, inclusion, and advocacy that students of color receive while here. Again, we're invested in your success. We want to make sure that we support you at every step along the way. We recognize that choosing a college can be a difficult decision. The choice of a college is one that impacts your entire family, if not the entire community. And it's important that you know that we are your family and that we want to be your UGA family to provide the support and endorsement that you need. We pledge our support of and investment in you. We work daily to ensure that the University of Georgia will not only meet your collegiate needs, but prepare you to move on in life and accomplish your goals. I encourage each of you to take advantage of this virtual University of Georgia experience, UGA Ready, particularly this Georgia Daze breakout, to learn all that you can about our campus and our culture and what the institution offers. And I challenge you to consider how you would look as a bulldog and how you would contribute to this community. Earlier, Vice President for Student Affairs, Victor Wilson, stated during the academic opportunity session that you should embrace this institution, make it your own. You're in the process of making decisions about the next stage in your career. And by participating in this program, I'm convinced that you're off to a good start and are headed in the right direction. I want to just give a quick plug for Georgia Daze. Georgia Daze is a premier student organization at the University of Georgia. We have an incredible group of students who lead it through the executive board. In addition, a larger group of students who support the efforts of Georgia Daze to recruit the next generation of Bulldogs. It is an organization that we're incredibly proud of, and I'm particularly proud of what the students are doing tonight and throughout the weekend. You'll hear more about to ensure that you have the information that you need to commit to Georgia. Again, welcome to the University of Georgia, and as always, go Dogs.
Thank you so much, Dr. Michelle Cook. Go Dog, indeed. Now we have the pleasure to hear a wonderful presentation from Dr. Jamel Hodges. He is the Assistant Director for Programming at the Multicultural Services and Program Office. Dr. Hodges, I will give you now the platform.
Okay, give me just a second as I share the screen.
And again, thank you so much, Dr. Hodges, for doing this presentation and for talking to our students about your wonderful office.
I actually enjoy it. Okay, we're good to go?
Yes, Dr. Hodges.
Awesome, perfect. So again, my name is Dr. Jamel Hodges. I am one of the assistant directors within the Office of Multicultural Services and Programs. The great thing about being in the Office of Multicultural Services and Programs, affectionately known as the MSP office, is being able to interact with students and interact with students directly and be able to have a positive impact on their careers as college students. One of the great things, again, like I said, is working specifically with students, but we really have to talk about what the mission of the office is. So MSP works to create an inclusive campus environment by supporting the development and affirming the overall experiences of all students, particularly our multicultural students. So within the MSP office, we have 12 student organizations. Each of these organizations are identity-based organizations based on students' culture. We have organizations that are specific to our Black students. We have organizations that are specific to our Hispanic or Latinx students. We have organizations that are specific to our Asian students. So we cover a wide gamut of populations at the university. However, our programming efforts, as well as our student organization programming efforts, are specifically designed for this one goal, and it's to create that inclusive campus environment of our students at UGA. So going a step further and talking about the Multicultural Services and Programs Office, we have our core values, our 6 core values. We have advocacy, authenticity, community, social justice, fortitude, and zest. For those 6 core values, that pretty much drives everything that the MSP office does as far as programming is concerned, as well as how we advise our student organizations and how we interact with other campus partners at the University of Georgia. So going through all of these different core values and reading exactly what these core values mean and what they mean to the Office of Multicultural Services and Programs, as well as student organizations under MSP, it's just us going back to that main mission of creating an inclusive environment, but also making sure that all of our students are facilitating or all of our student organizations are facilitating a good sense of connection for all of our students, and as well as making sure that we as an office foster that same thing for all of our students, whether it be a student who is a part of one of our MSP organizations or a student who is not a part of one of our MSP organizations. So speaking of those 12 student organizations that I mentioned a little bit earlier, the organizations that are specific to our Black students are, of course, the Black Affairs Council, Promote Your Dance Company. The Promote Your Dance Company is a dance troupe that is designed to offer an educational and engaging experience through dance for the African American experience. Then we also have the Black Theatrical Ensemble, which, much like Promote Your Dance Company, does a lot with the performing arts, but they look specifically at plays that are written by or screenplays that are produced by Black individuals to bring those to campus and actually act them out from members of their troupe within BTE. Then there's the Black Educational Support Team. The Black Educational Support Team is designed as a mentoring organization for our Black students. This year they will have 25 mentors and they will have 2 mentees per mentor. The application process for that is very simple. And this is something that we really want to put out to all of our students because that mentor-mentee relationship is very strong. There's specific research that is designed or that shows that there is a strong correlation between retention of those students and the mentoring opportunities that are available. We also have the UGA chapter of NAACP. Of of course, that organization is designed to serve as an advocacy agent for students who are a part of minoritized populations. The Black Male Leadership Society is, again, another organization that works to create community for Black men on campus. And the great thing about that organization is that they don't just have Black men a part of that organization. They also have Black women a part of that organization as well. And then there's Abinifu Cool Honor Society. That is the honor society for our Black students on campus, where they really focus on research and academic excellence, and they provide programs to make sure they foster those ideals in everything that they do. So let's talk about the MSP programs, the things that MSP does out of our office. So the first thing I'll talk about is the Men of Color Leadership Summit. The Leadership Summit was designed to be a place for our students of color, specifically our men of color, to come together and talk about the issues that are affecting their multiple communities. Whether they're a Black student, an APITA student, a Latinx student, a Native American student, it really doesn't matter. We were looking at all of those different experiences and talking about the issues revolving around those various backgrounds for those students. Unfortunately, we were not able to have the Men of Color Leadership Summit. As you can see, the date was March 21st, which was immediately after everything popped off with COVID-19. But we are definitely gearing up to make sure that next year we have that Men of Color Leadership Summit, and we have some contingencies in place just in case we have to go virtual again. Also, we had the defamation experience, which was a screenplay that we brought to campus that specifically talked about issues around different areas of diversity: race, class, religion, and gender. Those four different areas of diversity play very, very, very strongly into this particular event. However, the actors and the organization that put this screenplay together, they definitely do a good job of engaging the crowd. That's something that we really love, and that's why we picked that event, to make sure that there was a lot of crowd engagement and a lot of conversation around those areas of diversity. So that was amazing. Then the Inclusive Excellence Retreat, where we take a group of students off campus, and for 2.5 days, we help them develop the tools to create inclusive environments in all of their spaces, whether it be with their student organizations, within their classrooms, and how to advocate for themselves and each other as students. And so we definitely took this retreat and made sure that students left and were equipped with the tools necessary to make sure that we're doing the same thing that we talked about on that first slide, creating an inclusive campus environment. Then we have some other signature programs that we put on each year. Most of those signature programs revolve around our Heritage Months. Excuse me. One of the Heritage Months that's not listed here is the APITA Heritage Month. However, these three are three of our Heritage Months that we definitely publicize for, and we're able to do some cool things around: Latinx Heritage Month, Native American Heritage Month, and Black History Month. A lot of the campus partners that we have, they put on events as well. And so one of the things that we in the MSP office do, we make sure that we put as many of those programs on our flyers for those Heritage Months as possible. So whether it's MSP or one of our organizations, or whether it's the Department of History, we're making sure that we let students and our campus partners know about the multitude of things that are going on in each of those Heritage Months. And so for a third section of signature programs is the Rite of Sankofa graduation celebration, as well as senior reception. The Rite of Sankofa graduation celebration is designed specifically for students of color. We want to make sure that we congratulate and celebrate the accomplishment of graduation, whether it be at the undergraduate, graduate, or professional level. So the Ryder Sankofa graduation celebration happens once a year. It's typically in May. And so any student within that who graduates within that calendar year. So if for this year, 2020, it would have been, graduating spring 2020, summer 2020, or fall 2020, they would have been able to participate in the Ryder Sankofa graduation celebration this year. Each year, we try to make sure that we create some form of recognition that allows students not only to reflect on their college experience, but also look at the lessons that they've learned to take those into the workforce or whatever they're deciding to do after they've graduated. Also, we use the graduation or Ryder Sankofa graduation celebration to involve the family and friends, those individuals who help those graduates get to where they are. And we make sure that we specifically mention them and we specifically have them involved in their graduation celebration. Senior reception, another one of our signature programs. Each year we get the members of our MSP organizations, get them together and we talk about and highlight the accomplishments that they all have made throughout their organization or individually outside of their organization, but we make sure that we acknowledge them and give them some recognition as well. You'll see in the picture that, especially for the senior reception, you'll see that they have graduation stoles around their necks. For both Ryder Sankofa graduation celebration as well as the senior reception, the students receive graduation stoles. For the Ryder Sankofa graduation celebration, they are stoles that have specific African meaning. It's kente cloth in its making. For our senior reception, for our seniors, they have a specifically designed stole by the MSP office specifically for that. Students can get a senior reception stole as well as a Ryder Sankofa stole, just depending on what their undergraduate experience was for the senior reception. Now, one of my favorite things to talk about is the intersection space. This intersection space is designed for 6 different things: challenging assumptions, deepening understanding, encouraging respectful discourse, honoring the intersections of identities, constructing knowledge as a catalyst for transformation, and embracing personal responsibility in dismantling systems of oppression. That is what we do within the intersection space. It is designed specifically for that. The events that are housed and held in the intersection space, they all go towards these 6 things, or one of these 6 things at least. Anytime that you'll see the MSP office doing events in the intersection space, you can definitely tie it to one of those 6 things. It was designed specifically for MSP and these different conversations that we're having. One of the things that MSP is going to be doing next year, bringing back next year, is our lecture series, and we'll of course hold that lecture series in the intersection space, because we'll be definitely doing all 6 of those things through those conversations within the lecture series. So, as far as the MSP office is concerned, this is how you can get in contact with us through social media, whether it's Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. But then we also have our email address listed here, as well as our phone number. So if you have any questions that we don't answer today, you can definitely reach out to us and we'll be able to answer those questions through one of those different formats.
Again, thank you, Dr. Hodges, for engaging with the students and doing this wonderful presentation. I just want to inform our attendees, our high school students, at the bottom of this screen, there is a Q&A icon. If you would like to ask any question for Dr. Hodges or for the Georgia Daze panel, who will be next, please, that's the place that you can do that. And we are compiling these questions and utilizing with our panelists. I would like to invite our graduate assistant of student outreach, Gabriela Saenz. She will be asking some questions to Dr. Hodges to create more conversation about the wonderful office of MSP. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Dr. Hodges. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you. We've got a few questions from students. And, I'm just thinking as at one point in time, being an excited high school senior, thinking about college, knowing that it's going to be very different from high school, knowing that I'm going to be away from family, new environment, maybe a little bit of culture shock, going from a high school that's majority racial ethnic students to, UGA that's majority non-minority students. What tips would you give incoming students on how to navigate their first year?
Absolutely. One of the things that I think is important for first year students or even transfer students coming in is to get connected quickly. There's a lot of opportunities for students to join all kinds of different organizations. And so my one piece of advice for students coming in: find your community quickly, but then join those organizations, get involved very quickly. One of the things that our student organizations do every year, they evaluate the state of the Black community at the University of Georgia, and they're always trying to devise ways to make sure that they strengthen that sense of belonging at the University of Georgia, but then also strengthen their connections within their own community. So I can definitely say that for this year, this will be the first year we do a Black student convocation for our first year students coming in, where students will have the opportunity to come in, see what their community looks like, and then also there will be a organizational fair after that, where they can look and see all of the different organizations that are out there for them, so they can get connected quickly, but then also be able to foster that strong sense of connection, sense of belonging at the university.
And I think your answer has prompted another question. Where do students actually sign up to join one of the 12 MSP organizations? Great
question. So you don't necessarily sign up. Really and truly, each of the organizations, they're hosting meetings and events each month. Sometimes more than one event a month, sometimes more than one event a week. I mean, honestly, sometimes more than one event a day. So just going to the events and speaking with the individuals who are putting on the programs, they'll be very recognizable. That's how you join those organizations. But then when we have student organizational fairs, that's another way to really get plugged in with the student organizations. What they do when they have different sign-up sheets and things like that, they'll take your contact information and they'll add you to their listserv, where they say, hey, we're having a cookout on this day, or we're having a panel discussion about around career services, or we're just having a general conversation about a different topic. They'll let you know when those events are happening. And then once you show up to the events, you can figure out exactly how to become a part of that organization. Some of the organizations have dues requirements. Some of the organizations don't, but that varies from organization to organization. Or you can do the easy route and just come to the MSP office, and then we'll definitely get you hooked up with all of the organizations that you want to be a part of.
And I'm glad you said that, because we have another student asking, where is the MSP office?
Even better question. So we're strategically located right next to Sanford Stadium and across the street from the Tate Student Center and Memorial Hall. Memorial Hall sits, like I said, very, very, very strategically. You can't miss it. But there are two different bus stops that are right in front of Memorial Hall. So you can get to us from anywhere on campus. I say just jump on the O, which stands for Orbit. Jump on the Orbit bus route, and it'll take you straight to Memorial Hall.
And I know one common question, even from parents, is what about historically African-American fraternities and sororities? Are they a part of the MSP, or?
So the NPHC organizations, Divine Nine, Black Greek letter organizations, they have so many different names. But with all of our Greek organizations, they are actually housed in Greek Life. So Greek Life has its own office where it houses the three different Greek councils, whether it be the NPHC Council, the Multicultural Greek Council, or four councils, MPHC, MGC, Panhellenic, and then our IFC fraternities. And so each one of those councils has its own assistant director that they report to. So unfortunately, they're not in MSP, but they do have a very strong structure to where if you want to become a part of any of the Greek organizations, you'll be able to reach out to, if not the organization, you'll be able to reach out to an assistant director to get you linked up directly with that organization.
Terrific. And I know you suggested students become involved immediately, but what about joining multiple student organizations? Or do you have any recommendations on how students, really spend their time their freshman year or the first semester?
Yeah, so one of the things that you'll learn, a lot of people will advise, do not join multiple organizations. You'll get burnt out so fast. But our organizations have done a really, really, really good job of making sure that their executive boards are already chosen before students actually get in. So becoming a member of, say, Black Male Leadership Society or becoming a member of the Black Affairs Council does not necessarily mean that you're going to be the president immediately. Actually, it means the exact opposite. It means that you're not going to be the president immediately. So being a general member of the organization, you're able to see what's happening in the organization. You're able to figure out exactly what your road to leadership is going to look like. So yeah, join multiple organizations. Get as involved as you want to. We also realize that academics come first. So if at any point you feel that you're overwhelmed as far as events are concerned, or you're overwhelmed as far as responsibilities are concerned in general, outside of the classroom, then it's very, very, very okay for you to take a step back and say, hey, I really need to focus on my grades right now. And all of these student organizations understand that and they respect that. So coming in, I say get connected as quickly as possible again. And don't be shy about getting connected. Don't be shy about being engaged. Don't be shy about making those lasting connections, because it's the work that you do, in that first semester that really does shape a lot of what you do for the next 4 years.
And speaking of the 12 diverse organizations that are a part of MSP, are students welcome to join any of those 12 organizations, or is it more based on self-identity? What do you advise?
Yeah, so all of our organizations are open to everyone. So even though the Black Affairs Council may, like the word Black is in their name, but that council is not just for Black students. Now, the issues and the things that they tackle and their purpose will revolve around the Black experience specifically at the University of Georgia. But if you're a student who is not a Black student and you're passionate about that Black experience of students at the University of Georgia, join the Black Affairs Council or join BMLS or join another organization or become a mentor with the Black Educational Support Team. There are a lot of different opportunities for you within all of these different 12 organizations, but you do not have to identify with the identity that that group is advocating for. For example, there's the Black Male Leadership Society. It's not just an organization full of Black males. Actually, one of their VPs is a woman. So it does not matter, if you identify with the racial or gender identity that specific organization is designed to advocate for. What matters is the passion behind what you're doing, and if that mission aligns with your passion.
Thank you. And just a few questions, actually, it sounds like from a parent. Do students have access to mentoring from professors or different university offices?
So there are, and pardon me, I'm very new. I've only been at UGA for 6 months. So I'm going to try to explain this. If I don't do a good job, somebody cut me off. But there are mentoring organizations that get you hooked up with professors or staff or even alumni with the University of Georgia. Now, those programs aren't housed within the MSP office, but they do exist with at UGA. The Career Services Department has a mentor program that links students up with alumni specifically. So that's the one that I know off the top of my head, that 100% links students up with a mentor that is not a peer mentor. The other organizations, specifically the 2 organizations within BEST that are mentor organizations, within MSP that are mentor organizations, BEST, the Black Educational Support Team, and LISTO, which is Latinos or Latinas Invested in Students of Tomorrow. Those are peer-to-peer mentoring organizations. So within MSP, we do more peer-to-peer mentoring, but there are opportunities for students outside of MSP to get mentoring from faculty and staff members or even alumni.
Thank you. And I'm just thinking of the different events that MSP does host and facilitate, and how a lot of those events, may be dialogues or sessions facilitated by professors. So there's still plenty of opportunities for students to interact.
Absolutely. And I think on the academic side, when we start looking at mentors and internships and research and all of those things, I think it's really important, outside of my MSP hat, I definitely think it's really important for students to reach out to their professors and talk about some of their research interests or some of their career interests, or even just some of their academic interests, because even though there may not be a specific organization that is designed for that mentor-mentee relationship, you can definitely foster that mentor-mentee relationship just by having a conversation with your faculty and staff members.
Thank you. And a student is asking, when you join an organization, is that based on semester to semester, or are you joining for the entire year? How does that work?
So it depends on the organization. Some organizations have it where you pay dues each semester. Some organizations have it where you pay dues for the year. And the organizations who don't have dues, it's a little bit more fluid in how they operate. However, one of the things that I definitely get on my soapbox about is dedication, right? And so when you're part of a student organization and you have responsibilities within that student organization, make sure that you fulfill those responsibilities. Make sure that you're make sure that you're allowing those things to happen, or making sure that those things happen within your organization. We all understand when individuals have to take steps back for academic reasons, personal reasons, and may not be as involved in the organization. So you may be extremely involved one semester and not as involved the next semester. That is perfectly fine, and everyone understands that. What we really don't want to happen, though, is students being really active and then just dropping off of the face of the earth, without saying anything. Because in MSP, we may not know every individual student by name, but we definitely make it a point to have very strong connections with the students that we do interact with. And when students go ghost, we're really concerned, and we'll reach out to the students. So we absolutely understand that it's not going to be the same every semester, but for organizations, it's really just about, making sure that you fulfill your responsibilities, but then making sure that you're still able to do everything that you have to do academically as well.
Thank you. And we've got 2 questions so far. And if we don't get to your question, go ahead and type it in and we can get to it, and email students and follow up. But our last 2 questions, how can students join the Divine Nine? I think you kind of summarized that. And the other question, is it okay to change majors?
Oh, great questions. But these are really two really good questions. So being a part of an MPHC organization myself, each of the different 9 organizations under the MPHC has its own membership intake process. And so you'll really have to communicate with those individual organizations for those specific membership intake processes. The organization that I'm a part of has a very, very, very specific membership intake process, whereas it may look completely different from another organization's membership intake practice. What I suggest is having those conversations early on, having those conversations with the members of those organizations that you may be interested in early on, and doing your own research by yourself and figuring out which organization is best for you. A lot of the time students say, oh yeah, I know I want to do this organization, but have no idea what the organization is is about. So, it's really, really, really important to make sure that you do your research on the front end, but then also have conversations with individuals who are within those organizations to figure out exactly what your steps are to become a part of that organization. For the second question, it is absolutely okay to change your major. Right now, you're about 17, 18, maybe 19 years old, and that's being generous. And so what it is that you're interested in right now may not be what you're interested in, 2 years from now. One of the things that I will suggest, though, when it comes to changing majors, change your major early. Do the work to figure out what it is, you're really passionate about and interested in. Once you change your major, it impacts a lot of different things. It can impact your time in college. It can impact your financial aid. It can impact a lot of things. So what you'll want to do is make sure that you make the best informed decision that you possibly can. So make sure that you talk to your academic advisor about that decision, so they can help you navigate what that process looks like and what that means for you as an individual student. So yeah, it's perfectly okay to change your major. I changed mine in undergraduate school, so it's perfectly fine. And I'm pretty sure some other people, they won't tell you, but they changed their major as well. So don't feel pressure. You come in as a biology major, but art is really where your heart is. Don't feel the pressure to stay in biology if you know that you really want to do art. Go ahead and change your major, but make sure that you're making the most informed decision by talking to your academic advisor first.
Well, thank you so much. That's a great knowledge that you are exchanging with the students, that you're informing them. Again, it's really a pleasure to have you, Dr. Hodges, and the Office of Multicultural Services and Programs. I just want to recognize how wonderful of a partner you and the other staff, Mr. Alvarez Turner and Dr. Cooper, you are. You are not only partners, you are friends. And when we see each other, it's like a family reunion. And also,
that's not a joke. That is real life.
Yeah, that's real. And also, students, we talk about you and we exchange information, and we try to keep up with our students to see how can we support them every time, every day. So thank you so much. Thank you, Gabriela. Wonderful, wonderful. Now we are going to move on, and we are going to be inviting our Georgia Daze e-board. This is a student organization that I advise. Gabriela Saenz, she's a coordinator for Georgia Daze. Also student, they offer many social opportunities. So I'm really, really excited to hear what they have to say. And I'm also looking forward to this exchange of information. Welcome everybody. This is your platform, e-board. Again, do what you know what to do best. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you later.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Joshua Patton. I am a third year studying sociology with pre-law intent from Decatur, Georgia, and I'm the current outgoing president of Georgia Daze.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Courtney Britt. I am a third year health promotion major with an emphasis in health services from Griffin, Georgia. I currently serve as the vice president, and next year I will be serving as a community service co-chair.
Hey everyone, my name is Camille Jones. I'm a second year biology major, Spanish minor with pre-med intent from Lithonia, Georgia. This past year I served as the event planning coordinator co-chair, and then the next year I'll serve as the Georgia Daze president.
All right, so just to give you a little insight about Georgia Daze minority recruitment. So Georgia Daze was founded in 2004, and we have been going strong for 15 years. And we really are aiming to recruit minorities to the University of Georgia. And we have two ways that we try to do that. So the first is through high school outreach. So Georgia Daze partners with admissions to pretty much reach out to high schools in the metro Atlanta area, but also rural areas to pretty much recruit them to the University of Georgia. but we also have minority recruitment weekends that we have every spring semester. So we have one in February for early action students, and we have one in April for early decision students. So we had our early action weekend early this semester, and it was amazing. Students had great experiences. But then this next one right here is we have a virtual weekend through Georgia Daze, our Instagram and our Twitter. Sadly, we're not able to bring the students on campus along with their family members, but we're really trying to make this experience as best as we can. So Georgia Daze is one of 750 student organizations on campus. And Georgia Daze is one of 25 Black organizations on campus. So and each organization tries to bring a different purpose. So we have minority recruitment. You have organizations like Black Male Leadership Society, which are focused on Black males and their success. The NAACP is focused on political activism, and different orgs have their different purposes. But to be a member of Georgia Daze, you can pay your dues at the beginning of the semester. So once you're committed to Georgia Daze for like a year or so, you'll go through the application process to be on the executive board. It's around 14 to 16 people, and being on the executive board is a big commitment. It's a full year commitment where you're committed to doing a specific role, specific commitment. Everybody on this call that is a part of Georgia Daze is on the executive board and has committed a lot of time to the organization. Another cool thing about Georgia Daze is that we're under the Office of Institutional Diversity. We're allowed to be connected to different departments on campus, like administrators and admissions. Like through our connections with administrators, we're able to be in the Holmes Hunter Academic Lecture, which celebrates Hamilton Holmes and Charlie Hunter Galt, first two African-American students at the University of Georgia. But also the sound relationship that we form with other departments really make Georgia Daze amazing.
Yes. So the mission of Georgia Daze has three main components. The first component being to promote the growth of underrepresented communities at the University of Georgia in the undergraduate population. The second main component being to provide consistent communication between current UGA students and alum. And the third key component being to serve as a source of information for the surrounding Athens-Clarke County community and the UGA community. So with recruitment being one of our main goals, Georgia Daze and the Office of Institutional Diversity have partnered with UGA Football for our Football Ambassadors program. And through this program, members of Daze are able to be a part of this program and serve as a host for UGA football games. And as a football ambassador, you work with the recruit, their family, you get to come to game days, you get free food, you get free gear, you get to get into the games for free. So this role has a lot of perks, but the most important thing is that our hosts make the recruits feel welcomed here at UGA early on. So when you come to UGA, this is something that you can look forward to through Georgia Daze. You're still
Josh, unmute yourself.
So yeah, a big question that people have is like, when they get on campus, how can they get involved in Georgia Daze? So there are numbers of ways you can get involved. So we have a committee system where we have 5 committees where general body members can be a part of one of those committees and be committed to a specific thing on the executive board, whether that's event planning, communications, community service, anything along those lines. But you can also be a host or ambassador for our minority recruitment weekend. So a host is a UJ student that lives on campus and are matched with the prospective students that have similar interests to them. So hosts and the hosties for the weekend are together for the entire weekend. And most of the times they pretty much help be their first friend on campus and be a mentor for them for the weekend and when they get on campus. Also an ambassador helps for the weekend as well, but they just don't host a student. So the students will also be living with their host for the weekend and ultimately just gain a new relationship and really get to experience campus. Camille, you gotta unmute yourself.
So I served throughout the year as the event planning coordinator, co-chair, and so with that comes a lot of different amazing events for Georgia Daze members to participate and for me and my co-chair Josh to plan. So there are a few things that Georgia Daze works to do. Not only do we work to increase the number of minority students here, but we also work to enrich the minority community here on campus. And there are a few ways we do that. We do that with programs and we do that with events. Some of our most notable events is our expose event, and it happens in the fall every year. We have different Black businesses come from student businesses on campus or from Atlanta at large. So we have student businesses there and regular businesses to promote themselves and kind of get exposed. We have music, we have DJ, we have food, and what it's really known for is the fact that everybody gets really dressed up and comes in all white. It's kind of like a high school homecoming thing, but everybody's in all white. And then people love doing that every year. And the other thing that we also do is our Georgia Days weekend, as you all know already. Like Josh said, we weren't able to do it this year, but we work hard starting the fall semester to put on a really awesome weekend for all students who come to the weekend on campus. And we hope that you all enjoy the virtual weekend just as much, almost as much as you would have enjoyed the weekend on campus. So now I'm gonna pass it on back to Josh. You're on mute. Try again.
I'll try again. All right, I'm good. Y'all can hear me. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go through a little PowerPoint slide to give y'all a little bit of insight about UGA traditions. Because tradition is a huge thing at the University of Georgia, and we want to make sure that y'all are well aware of them. So give me 1 second. Okay. So at the end of this, we're going to do a Kahoot. So all the participants, make sure you go to kahoot.it, and then we'll have the code on the last slide. So first, we're going to go through the first tradition, or the most important thing about the University of Georgia is the arch. So the arch is not only the symbol of UGA, but also the state of Georgia. There are 3 pillars of the arch: wisdom, justice, and moderation. And there's a big tradition at the University of Georgia where students don't pass under the arch until they graduate. I make sure that I have not done that because I want to graduate on time. And so that's another big tradition of UGA. So also near the chapel bell. So the UGA chapel is another one of those buildings in North Campus. And behind the chapel is the chapel bell. So the chapel bell is often rung for celebration after sports events like a UGA football win. So for example, after our Notre Dame game, they were ringing the bell all night and the rope broke, but UGA PD had to come back and fix it. Also, people it used to be ranked for class change, but people ring the bell for any reason now. So whether you get a 9 count or your 8 count chicken nugget meal, you can ring the bell. It can really be for anything.
Yes. All right, so UGA is known for their academics, but they're also known for their athletics. And so if you're a football fan, you can attend football games. And some of the traditions at football games include lighting up Sanford Stadium during fourth quarter, which you can see in that picture, and also calling the dogs, which is always a really good time. And just a fun fact, the second most watched sport at UGA is gymnastics.
Like Courtney said, UJ football is a really big part of our traditions here at the University of Georgia. And it started way back on Hurdy Field. So before Sanford, there was Hurdy Field. The first football game at the University of Georgia was played on this field right behind Moore College against Mercer University. And I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but before the Bulldog, there was the goat. So the original mascot of the University of Georgia was the goat. Also at the Hurdy Field, you can find the fountain, which is really popular. It's a really big tradition. A lot of students jump into the fountain, especially on their way into the university. So I know during orientation, some students go jump in the fountain. I know that right before classes begin, some students go jump in the fountain. They also may go at the end of their first year. So jumping in the fountain is the thing here at University of Georgia. Hurdy Field has a really awesome view. I used to have a class at Moore College and would walk out the back door just to see that picturesque view. The picture that they put on those magazines is their everyday real life. So you're on mute, Josh.
All right, so now we're going to talk about celebrating. So Snelling is one of our 5 dining halls on campus. So we call it celebrating because let's say you had a long week, you just came from a chemistry test, right outside the Science Learning Center in South Campus, you want to go get something to eat. People will often go to Snelling to go celebrate. So Snelling is the only dining hall that's open 24 hours throughout the week. So at midnight, it switches to breakfast food. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, you could go get eggs, French toast, sausage, anything along those lines. Sometimes there's games, music, and often karaoke.
Yes, so getting involved at the University of Georgia, I know for a lot of students, the amount of resources that the university has to offer can be really daunting or kind of intimidating. But I want you to know that although our university is large, there are ways for you to make our campus feel smaller. So some of the ways you can do that is by joining a student club and organization. UGA has over 750 clubs and organizations. And if there's one on campus, or if there's not one on campus that you want to see, you can take yourself and a group of people, write up a constitution, submit it to the appropriate people, and start your own student org. So trust me when I say we have something for everyone. Other ways for you to get involved are through intramural and club team sports. So if you are not able to make one of the official UGA athletic teams, you can try out for the club team, which still competes against other schools in the SEC. They travel and the whole 9 yards. It's just not quite as intense. And then if you know that, this is something I really like to do, but I'm not sure I want to invest that kind of time, you can also participate in intramural teams, which are groups of students who make their own teams and compete against other student teams at the University of Georgia. So I know our basketball IM league is really popular, and a lot of students choose to get involved in that. Other ways you can get involved are through study abroad. You end up traveling with a really small, tight-knit group of people, and it's really an amazing opportunity for you to cross off your experiential learning and for you to learn more about other people and other places. Other ways for you to get involved are through Tate Time. Tate Time is a section at the University of Georgia. It's a time for African American students to bond and hang out with each other in the middle of Tate, quite frankly. So we spend time just talking, joking, music, and that's how we develop our community and make it stronger. And then when you first come on campus, something you should really look out for is the freshman welcome, where class of 24 will officially make the G on the Sanford Stadium field. And that's your first step for you to start meeting new people. So take advantage of those opportunities. Unmute.
Every time. But for the University Union, which is a student programming board, they put on events for all of our students. So in 2019, we had a University of Georgia Spring Concert. So we had T-Pain. The year before that, we had Yo Gotti and Fetty Wap before that. So if you really want to be on the student programming board to really help plan events, major events for our students, it is a great way to get involved. They also plan events where they have events at the Snelling Dining Hall, where they have chicken and waffles. So if you really want to just be on a programming board, University Union is an amazing thing.
Okay, so we just want to speak with you guys briefly about experiential learning. And so experiential learning is a requirement to graduate here at the University of Georgia. And through this, you get hands-on experience in the field that you think you want to work in the future. And so this requirement can be fulfilled through an internship. It can be fulfilled through research, study abroad, or service learning. So if you have any questions about that, you can visit that website, or you can ask us here in the chat.
All right, so that's pretty much it for our presentation. Now you go to kahoot.it, and then you can put in the game pin, which is 795-1936.
We'll give y'all just 1 minute or so to do that.
Hey, Georgia, it's Ivor. Just want to be sure that you will have some time to answer some questions from attendees. That's okay?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you.
We'll do a couple questions. I guess we'll start counting down, and we'll play with whoever's in here in 10, 9, 8, 7. Josh, I think the screen is blocking the code, so they might not be able to see that number. It's 795-1936. 795-1936. 795-1936. Yeah, Josh, we see half of the UGA Ready presentation, and the other half is like Kahoot.
Maybe while the Kahoot loads
Yeah.
and people join, you guys could share what's your favorite memory of UGA as a freshman?
Hmm. I would say
freshman year, so I'm trying to think.
I would say my favorite memory, and this is funny because we just did our memories Monday with the Georgia Daze week, and I was able to recap that moment. But there was one night, and this is the only stuff you do not hear about this often. We were just in the middle of the street dancing to Stanky Leg, and it was just me and my 3 friends, and that's just, I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's the one that's coming to my memory right now. And it's stuff like that that kind of just reminds you what college is, and that even though it's hard, there's still a lot of opportunity for you to like have fun and make a moment, you know? So it looks like we have a good amount of people in the Kahoot. Josh, you want to go ahead and kick that off?
Yes, I got you. All right, we'll get started.
I'm playing 2 guys. Try to beat me. Ha. Okay. Oh, Jaden.
All right.
Why is it?
I'm gonna go to the next question.
What is the central?
Sheesh. Okay.
The Georgia-Florida game is played at a mutual location, and that's in Jacksonville. Josh, that's everyone. Yeah. Quavo. We haven't had Quavo yet, y'all.
He come up to UGA so much.
He does come to UGA a lot, though. Okay, Jaden, we see you.
See you next. All right.
That's the view right outside of Moore College. When you walk out the back door of Moore College, that is what you'll see. Oh, y'all see me? I'm up there.
Yeah, you should be winning. So.
I should be winning. Relax, relax. Oh, this is, I'm gonna wait. Watch this, watch this.
All right, next question. Give me. All right. All right. Question.
All right, y'all, it's one more question after this.
All right, last question. Our winner is. Okay, Jaden, congratulations.
Jayla and Laura, we see you too.
Yes.
We just want to thank y'all for coming to hang out with us. Stay around for the Black Alumni Panel that's up next. But also be sure that you're staying connected in our Georgia Daze weekend happening on both the Instagram and Twitter profiles, and you should be receiving daily emails about those as well. So just stay in the know.
Thank you, Georgia Daze, Ivo. I know, sadly, we don't have time for questions, but I know that you have a really wonderful weekend planned for all the students. So maybe they can engage with you, ask some questions throughout these wonderful activities that you have today, tomorrow, and Sunday.
Yes.
So thank you. Have a wonderful evening. As always, I'm really proud of all of you.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Thank you.
We talk later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So right now we want to move with our last activity, our last event. That's our Black Alumni panel. So I would like to invite our Black Alumni members to join me. We have Mr. Brown. We have Ms. Walker. Thank you so much for participating in this Black Alumni panel. I know it's Friday, it's 9 p.m. But first, I would like for all of you to introduce yourself and just say something, just a little bit about who you are, what you are doing, etc., etc. Thank you.
My name is Charlita Stevens Walker. I graduated, and don't anyone faint, in 1989. So I started as a freshman in 1985. It's been wonderful listening to everyone throughout this presentation, because as I was hearing about all the different organizations on campus, I remember being in all of those organizations. So right now I am a national director for corporate and cause partnerships at the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Prior to that, I had 24.5 years of, as a VP of sales at Coca-Cola here in Atlanta. was a journalism major at Georgia, and was president of the Black Affairs Council while there for 3 years. I was in Ebony Fukuo, and I was a minority assistant. So all the things that you all talked about really warmed my heart, because I was very active with the Multicultural Services and Programs organization. And I will say definitely that involvement at that time has made me who I am today in terms of the leader that I am, et cetera. So I'm very excited about that background that Georgia allowed me to have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown.
Hey, so I'll start off with, if everybody does nothing today but get Carlita's phone number, probably one of the most impressive resumes I've ever seen. And it's a pleasure to be on the panel with you. I graduated just a few years after you did. I graduated in December of 2005 with a degree in international affairs. Right now, I am the Vice President of Development and Marketing for Partnership Against Domestic Violence. And I've been doing that for about 4 years. Right after graduation, I worked for about 8 years with the Northeast Georgia Council of Boy Scouts of America. So fundraising and nonprofit life is kind of all I know. And ironically, has nothing to do with international affairs, but it's, my time at Georgia was amazing. And I owe them everything that I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So I just want to start with this simple question. Why UGA?
Ha!
You decided to say UGA is going to be my institution.
Wow.
You want to start, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Okay.
You know, to be fully honest with you guys, man, I never visited UGA. I got into Georgia, and in my mind, I was going to go to Morehouse, and I had a full ride to go there to get a dual degree in engineering and whatever. So Morehouse and tech, that's what I was going to do. And I went and visited Morehouse, and it just didn't sit right. And then something, you know, came down and said, "Hey, Jeff, go visit Georgia." And man, that thing, it just, when I got to campus, it just felt right, man. I felt the love. Ironically, the admissions counselor who gave me the tour at Morehouse ended up being an admissions counselor when I got to UGA a couple months later. So UGA, man, it just felt right. The minute I stepped on campus, everybody that I got to connect with, they were amazing. I mean, you know, and like Carlita said, I mean, it was, you know, all the organizations that they were talking about in the panel before, you got to see them right front and center. And UGA for me was just a place where I could go away from home, but still feel like I was at home. You know, like there were so many people that just loved me and took care of me while I was away, that it just made it so freaking easy to be at that school. Like, I mean, I could talk about that all day, but Carlita, I saw my frat brother Henry jumped in the panel as well. So yeah, Carlita, Henry, take it away, man.
So I have a similar story in that my mom was a professor is still a professor at Morehouse, believe it or not. And my dad was at Clark Atlanta. So I could have had a full ride at Spelman or any of the AUC schools because my parents were there. But I really was in love with journalism at the time. So I really wanted to be a journalist. Georgia's journalism school, the Grady School, is fantastic. So I applied there. I applied at UNC, and I applied to Syracuse. I visited all 3 campuses. Luckily, I visited Syracuse in January, and I will not even tell you that was not going to work for me. Syracuse, New York in January is not for the faint of heart. But I fell in love with Georgia, and the Grady School of Journalism was amazing. And I have learned so much from that experience. And I was a public relations major. And even though I ended up going into sales at IBM first and then at Coke, and now, you know, fundraising is a type of sales, my public relations background from the Grady School really was the foundation that I needed for all of those different aspects of my future development. So it by far, the journalism school was the attractive for me.
Well, I want to give the opportunity now to our Black alumni who is now here with us, Mr. Henry Adeleye.
Yes. What's the question one more time?
Well, you can start with introducing yourself, and then we can move on to why UGA.
Okay. So my name is Henry Adeleye. graduated in 2008, I believe I remember. I started a company called Cupcakery. In fact, I'm just joining you guys late because I just got back home from leaving the shop. So we've been going for about 6 years now. Why did I choose UGA? That's a great question. So I went to Westlake High School, which is almost all Black. In fact, when I went to UGA, only one other student from my high school came to UGA with me. So growing up in Atlanta, of course, AUC is what you see all the time. Almost all my friends went to HBCUs. I wanted to do something a little different, kind of challenge myself, put myself in like an environment I wasn't used to. So originally I was actually gonna go to Georgia Tech, but my older brother was at UGA. So I got into Tech. I see you shaking your head, Jeff. Great decision that I didn't go. So I knew I wanted to go into business, and UGA just, for me, it was a more well-rounded program. And I visited my brother there wasn't Georgia Daze back in the day. It was actually, I can't even remember the name of it, but it was like you go for like a weekend, but you don't spend the night. But it was like the precursor to Georgia Daze. So I was in that program. It was like a Black student acceptance program, something like that. So we went to a football game. My brother took me to a couple parties. I was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely where I'm going. So just being able to see like all aspects of college life, social, academic as well, because I went to a couple of classes with him. But that kind of solidified my decision to go to Georgia, as opposed to going to the AUC or even Georgia Tech.
I want to ask you this. I know we have many students who represent the African American and the Black community. They are looking into UGA, and they may have some hesitation, because the reality is that the African American population is not that big. So can you talk to them about your experience here at UGA? Can you tell them about those moments when you were attending college and all these different classes here?
Yes, so I remember my first general chemistry class, because I was a biology major. And there's like 300 students, and there's probably like maybe 3 Black students in like the whole auditorium. So that's when I really realized like, oh, like this is different. Like, and it kind of makes you realize you're different as well, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because growing up, I went to Black schools all my life, so everybody always looked like me. And I guess the first time I realized was in my English class, where I was literally the only Black person. And then most of the stories that we read or assignments had something to do with culture or race. So anytime they want the Black perspective, everybody's looking at me, and it's like, oh Lord, no. So, but it's nothing to be scared of or ashamed of. It's kind of like the real world is a lot different than what you may have grown up with. But it's also a chance to represent your race. And it's easy to get involved with a lot of organizations to kind of make sure that people who are of your cultural background feel comfortable, don't want to go home every weekend. Like they feel like this is a part of their, or this university is theirs as well. So I got involved with a lot of those types of organizations, like BEST. I'm not sure if they still have that, but it was like a mentoring program where you take incoming freshmen under your wing, help them get acclimated to a campus environment. I ended up going Greek as well. So we did a lot of social events, a lot of forums, just anything we could to make sure that our culture is known and that people on campus know that there are people here with you who share your same experiences. And it kind of helps everybody bond as well. Once you get there, you'll kind of see that UGA it's kind of like a Black high school within the bigger university. So everybody kind of knows each other and becomes friends. So it's a really good experience that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah. And I would agree with that, Henry. I will say that it's a large school, but it's what you make it. And so it was one of those things where I really wanted to lean in. I went to a pretty small high school, North Fulton. It's no longer there anymore, but it was an international baccalaureate school, but it was diverse. So when I got to Georgia, it was large, but it really felt like, okay, this is really what I want to do. And if I want to be a leader later in life, I need to get used to being in, areas that may be uncomfortable at first, but allow me to grow. And so I looked at Georgia as an opportunity to meet a lot of new people. So I was in African-American organizations, but I was also in predominantly white organizations. So it was an opportunity to really connect with a lot of different people. And one of the things that I was really proud of, I don't know if Leadership UGA is still a part of at Georgia, but Leadership UGA was a great organization of leaders across the system, students. And one of the things that we did was we met a lot of different people from across corporations that came to speak to us. And one of the folks that I met there happens to be one of my mentors today, really motivated me to make sure I was connecting with a lot of different people outside the discipline that I had, which was, again, journalism. And I will never forget that wisdom, because it allowed me to meet people that I am actually connecting with now in organizations as I'm active on boards and everything. I've met people that I connected with way back at school that I would never have had the opportunity to connect with had I not kind of reached out. So it's large, but it's not. I think, Henry, the way you put it is that there's a smaller community within the bigger school. It really is like that. And it's what you make it. You find your tribe, but also you need to make sure you get out and, meet as many people as you can, because it's going to prepare you for the world and what your next steps will be.
Do you want to?
You guys are both. Go ahead. I was going to say, you guys are both right. UGA stretched me in ways that I don't think I would have ever been stretched had I gone to another institution. I think Henry and Khalid are both absolutely right. You get that small town feel, obviously, within our community of African Americans. But my encouragement, because I stepped out of it as well, as I broke out of that shell and I started to network and interact with people that didn't look like me, that didn't have that same shared experience. But when I was ready for that shared experience, I just ran the tape, and we did take time. And then, in full transparency, there might have been a day where I might have spent all day at tape time. At tape, but that's just, and it's funny because Henry's laughing. Everybody's laughing because that's a shared experience for our community across generation.
Right.
Yes, campus is small, or the African American community is small at UGA, but the living African American alumni is 15,000 strong. And I would dare any college, any HBCU or any other college in America to challenge the strength of UGA's overall alumni base, and then specifically the African American alumni. We all support each other. Henry and I, three years apart, but I live in Gwinnett, he's in East Point, and I've shopped at Cupcakery, and so that's the strength of UGA, is that our alumni base can't be matched. So.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you said that, because I was going to move to another question. I was going to say the simple question, what is your best memory of UGA? And I still want to do that, but I don't want you to go back. You don't have to go back, because I know the Black Alumni Association is a great association. So please, you can share, if you have one UGA memory from now or maybe a year ago, please share that. So again, what is your best UGA memory from the past or now?
That's a good question.
That is a good one. If you don't mind, I'll jump in, because I have one from way back. Again, you all 2000s. Okay, I'm repping 89 people.
It's
Come
okay.
on.
It's all right.
Come on.
We're all family.
So one of the things I was most excited about was my junior year. I was homecoming queen. And while that may not sound like a big deal,
That's
for
awesome.
me, it was the culmination of just a lot, to be out there in the field. I know we've had several African-American homecoming queens since, and I've talked to several of them because a couple of them are in the same sorority. It's unbelievable. And it really makes you realize that the size of the university as you're standing out there on the field and looking out, but it also makes you realize how far we've come. We have a long way to go, but how far we've come, because I think the first African-American queen was in the 70s. I think it was 79, I want to say. And then the next one, I was 1988, so, that's the kind of thing that really meant something. It was a memory I will never forget. And then a more recent proud moment, I know the Black Alumni Group, when they started 1961 Club, that is such, it means so much, how pivotal that event was and is to us and what it means to us as alum. And the way they kind of presented the whole thing was just amazing. And it made me so much more proud. I was already proud, but so much more proud to wear my 1961 pin, to be part of the chartering of that with the leadership that alumni group had was just amazing. It meant a lot.
Wow. I think I have a couple. So just so that you guys know, next year I'll be president of the Black Alumni Leadership Council.
Congratulations.
So one of my proud moments are going to be when both of you guys donate to 1961 again. But in all seriousness, man, so we're talking about Georgia Daze, but that idea was birthed while I was in college. Like that was my senior year of UGA when the idea kind of first started being talked about with a couple friends of mine.
Yeah.
The Give a Dog a Bone campaign that started with the Black Educational Support Team when I was at UGA, and we started to write letters to all the admitted students to say, hey, welcome to the family. We hope that you decide to go here. So that was us. And so for me, that's one of my greatest moments, and that's one of my favorite moments because it just points to the fact that if there's something not present at Georgia that you want to do and you want to be a part of, just make it, create it.
Make it.
Yeah, and then the most impactful part of that is that learning experience that you go through in making this organization or making this thing. It does nothing but benefit you when you graduate and you're talking about yourself in your first interview. You're going to talk about, wow, I was the brainchild behind Georgia Daze or whatever your thing is. And then the person sitting at the other end of the table is going to go, okay, yeah, like this person's legit. We got to bring them on the team. Yeah. Whatever the base salary was, let's up that back a little bit more because that person's impressive, and that means a lot. And the name on the degree means a lot.
Definitely. I'll piggyback a little off of Jeff as well. So that first Georgia Daze, I was actually a host for that, and my mentee ended up coming to UGA, matriculated, really good friend to this day. And another thing, we go back to saying at UGA, if you want something to be there that isn't there, it's like you have the strength to make it happen. So like right after I graduated, actually my younger brother who went to UGA as well, there was like this talk of creating like a Black homecoming experience. Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of parties involved in that, but we kind of helped spearhead the movement. We actually created like a Black homecoming week with there's like a culminating party and whatnot, but then they had like the tailgate and everything. So it kind of started small, but it's kind of grown into like this big annual event. Cause I remember like my freshman, almost all the way through graduation, like homecoming would be a weekend where a lot of people would like actually go home instead of like come home to the university. So we always wonder why, people will come from out of town and they'll go to like Howard's homecoming or like AUC. So we wanted UGA to be something similar where people wanted to, bring their families back, catch up with old friends, just have a good time. So we implemented a big plan to kind of spearhead that and get it started. So I would say that's probably like my biggest or like my proudest accomplishment. Not saying I did it by myself by any means, but we helped kind of spearhead that movement towards wanting homecoming to be like a bigger thing. So.
Nice.
And Henry, of course, I had to add to my virtual background the picture of our homecoming.
You're good, man.
Yeah, man. You know, hey, if you're gonna talk about it, the least I'm gonna do is give homecoming a shout out. So, but no, I appreciate you for doing that. That brings back so many alumni, and we talk about that shared experience. Like, we didn't have that when I was in school. This whole Black homecoming thing. Mm-hmm. And so without your leadership, man, you know, there are kids that are benefiting that are on campus today that get to see all of us come back to campus and go, and they had no clue that there were so many of us that were on campus. But then just imagine the fun and the networking that takes place.
Of course. That
happens there. You know, hey, you know, and so, I mean, Black alumni, we are all amazing, and we're all doing excessively abundant things. And so just to be able to give back to the students that are there, that's what Black homecoming is about for me.
I didn't know I had you to thank for that, Henry. I took my son there last year. We had a blast. I couldn't believe I was at Georgia. My squad never looked like that. So that's a huge, huge thank you.
No problem.
I don't want to leave before asking Mr. Henry Adele. There is a question for you. Students, they want to know what business you are talking about. What business do you have?
So we own a company called Cupcakery. It's a cupcake and coffee shop located in East Point. But we deliver all around the Atlanta area. We do a lot of catering events, probably for like big corporations that you would never know like who catered that. But again, we've been up and running for about 6 years, especially now with everyone like staying at home. We've like pivoted a lot to, you know, doing deliveries, helping people send birthday gifts and love to people because they can't get out and do it themselves. So we've become, not to make a comparison, but we're like an Amazon now where everybody wants stuff online. So we're able to kind of deliver that. But yeah, if y'all are ever in Atlanta at all, come check us out. We're at 2781 Main Street. We're still open as well. I'm usually there, so just come to say what's up.
I'm glad to support you.
Hey,
absolutely.
It would be awesome if Henry, what were you doing before you and your wife decided to open Cupcakery?
So I was working at a place that does IT. They sell like servers and networking equipment. So I would kind of put the orders together once the salespeople. So complete 180.
Right.
But yeah, you know, sometimes your passion finds you and you just got to go for it.
That's awesome.
And I only bring that up just to further highlight just the impressiveness of our alumni, to go from here's what you're doing. You know, you talked about earlier in your presentation, hey, my freshman year, I was taking a biology, you know, class. Eventually you work your way into IT, and then you're like, this isn't what I want to do anymore. So I'm going to do a full 180, and I'm going to open a bakery. And I'm gonna produce some bomb cupcakes and some, you know, so I just, again, it just goes back to the impressiveness of our alumni base.
For sure.
That's fantastic.
I apologize because I have to cut this, but this is an awesome conversation. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you so much, all of you. I want to encourage our students who are listening to contact you, to contact the Black Alumni Association, because you don't have to wait until you finish. You can contact them and engage with them in these wonderful activities that they do, and do network because we need that. So thank you again for taking the time Friday evening to do this. Really, you know, I'm really so happy inside. You don't even imagine. So
yeah, thank you guys for sure.
Thank you for having us. This was wonderful. Thank you, and thank you for all that you all are doing. And come to Georgia, admitted freshmen. Come on, it's a fantastic place to be.
Cupcakes on me.
Yeah.
There we go. Hey, I appreciate the Georgia Daze folks, man. Y'all did an amazing job of pivoting in this hard time.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it's not the same bringing these kids or bringing you guys on campus, man, but just the pivot for the Georgia Daze board and everybody involved in putting this together. Kudos to you guys. Y'all are amazing.
Absolutely. Well done.
Thank
Well
you.
done, for sure.
So now I want to invite our Director for Diversity and Inclusion to come and give us a closing. And once again, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, wow. So I'm blown away by the panel that we just had with the amazing alum from the University of Georgia. I am a recent alum of UGA as a graduate student, and they just instill so much sense of pride in me to be able to say that. And so, again, kudos to our alumni panel. Kudos to our Georgia Daze Executive Board. When we told Georgia Daze that, unfortunately we were going to have to move to, a virtual platform, I was, very tentative in telling them that I didn't want to crush all the planning that they have put in. And I mean, Georgia Daze has really taken leadership and gave it a new meaning in the way that they've been proactive in scheduling pieces around Georgia Daze making, publications and animated flyers and all types of things that I'm impressed with every day when I see their Instagram account. And so kudos again to the leadership with Georgia Daze. Thank you for all those who volunteered to host for Georgia Daze weekend. We are extremely grateful for you and indebted to you in the Office of Institutional Diversity. And so in ending this session, I just want to let you know that OID, Office of Institutional Diversity, we are here for you today. We are here for you when you commit. We are here for you when you attend. And as you just saw on the alumni panel, we are here for you when you are a graduated Bulldog. We wanted to close this session by letting you all know that the Office of Institutional Diversity has 2 scholarships that we will be promoting at the beginning of May. One scholarship is funded by or supported by the Black Alumni Leadership Council. So you'll see our Black Alumni Scholarship, be on the lookout for that. And the other one is a diversity scholarship, and that is sponsored by UGA Athletics Association. And we'll be emailing all of this information to you all. But thank you for attending Georgia Daze. If you need us, please call us. If you need us, please email us at diverse@uga.edu. And as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.